What's up, A to Z Sports, Titan Game Day Live, the post-game show here, presented and powered by BTA Sports. The only wins of the day, Easton, were because we took some things on BTA Sports that had high percentages, and that's it, because the Titans lost. The Titans are 0-2, 33-19, a complete blowout in the second half. The Titans had a halftime lead by 3 of 13-10. Everything was exciting, and people were pumped up. Cam Ward threw a touchdown in dramatic, exciting fashion, and that all went out the window. The train went off the tracks. Who drove it off the tracks? We're about to talk through all of that with our post-game show here live on A to Z Sports Facebook and YouTube. I'm Austin Stanley alongside Easton Freeze, our Titan reporter for A to Z Sports.com. We're about to go through all of this. So if you've got somebody to blame, come bring it here in this post-game show. This is a therapeutic, cathartic therapy session. So bring it. Let's go. Hold nothing back. We got super chats. We're going to grade players. We're going to grade the coach maybe. We'll talk about a couple of good things in this. But Easton, let's officially get this thing going. Welcome in.
Yeah, what's up, Austin? Excited to get this post-game show going. I'm sure it'll be a lot of emotions, some yelling, some screaming, some complaining from the chat. Let it all out. That's what we're here for. An expected loss. I think we were all, well, I mean, you and I, Austin, and the majority of the chat were expecting them to lose. Perhaps not expecting them to lose by as many points as they did. Fought tough for about 2.5 quarters and then took the last quarter and a half off, it seems. Looking forward to talking through who is to blame and for what, and how much of it is just that the Rams are a really good team and the Titans are not right now, and how much of it is things that they could have done a whole lot better, certainly somewhere in between those two things. And so we'll get into all of it over the next hour. You got to like the show. Help us out. Before you get all angry, just do us one favor and like the show on Facebook and on YouTube.
On Facebook, there's an angry face. That counts. If you want to,
that's a good note. That's a good note. Leave an angry face.
You can do it on Facebook. YouTube, sorry, you just have a like button. Don't dislike it.
Don't dislike it.
Dislike it means you don't like us.
That's shockingly harmful to our product. Please don't do that.
You like us, so like it, but you can angry face it on Facebook.
By all means, take your anger out on the angry face on Facebook, and then share the show to a buddy. So be a friend. Bring a friend, send it to a friend, and then jump in the comments. We want to hear your thoughts. Austin, we can get it started.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome to A to Z Sports Titan Game Day Live post-game show. Shout out to all of our great sponsors for this Titan Game Day season. X Golf in Nashville, Murfreesboro, Hermitage, and Franklin, the home of indoor golf across Middle Tennessee with those 4 locations. PlayXGolf.com is the website. BTA Sports. Use our code ATOZ when you download the BTA Sports app. You get a 14-day free trial. Plus, the season pass is $99, only available this month. Use the show link in the description right there. Botero Carts, Life is Short by Golf Cart. 2 locations to help you out in Gallatin and the new one in Columbia. BoteroCarts.com. Lipscomb University Sports Analytics Program, turning sports fans into data-driven decision makers in the world of sports. And the Barrel Social Club. The countdown is on. The Kentucky Poker Open returns to the Barrel Social Club this October. TheBarrelSocial.com for more info. Easton, it is about as bad as that first half was. The first half was exciting. The second half was ugly.
Boring.
Math live on air is a lot easier when you can count from a 0. So it was 10 points for the Rams in the first half. They added 23 points. Titans only added 6. Outscored 23-6 in the second half of play. I don't think Cam Ward was very good in the second half. I think Cam Ward was pretty good in the first half. And then the offensive line falls apart. The defense bends, and then finally breaks and explodes. And Blake Corum was the benefit of that. And Matt Stafford throws for nearly 300 yards. The Titans are 0-2. So there's a lot to break down about a lot of people calling for Brian Callahan and not thinking he's way in over his head. I can't summarize what people's thoughts in the chats are about the head coach in one sentence.
They really hate Brian.
They do not like the head coach. The head coach has now fallen to a 3-16 record as the Titans head coach, 0-2 here. But these two teams that they've played were playoff teams. The Rams were very close to a NFC championship berth team a year ago. They're a good football team. The Titans are 0-2, as I think all of us expected them to be 0-2. But this one hurts extra with the second half playing out the way that it did.
Yeah, it's our job to make things interesting and identify the interesting things and talk about the interesting things. So I don't mean to do a disservice to myself when I say this. My initial reaction is kind of straightforward. I think the Titans just got outclassed by a much better football team than them, a much better quarterback than them, a better head coach than them, a better offense and a better defense than them. I just think that when you see it, it kind of felt almost like a college football game in a sense, Austin, the way that a lot of college games, when there's a clear difference in weight class between the two opponents, and the lesser opponent is no slouch, and they're going to give you their all, and they're going to play in an honorable way. But, by halftime or maybe the middle of the third quarter, they start to have the wheels come off because at a certain point, the dam just breaks and you just are worse than your opponent.
Yeah, this is a classic college Power 4 team in the Rams versus a frisky group of 5 or 6 team in the Titans, and you got a good battle, and then Big Bro says, wait a second, we should be dominating this. Let's just do this, and then runs away with it pretty easily.
Yeah, it's App State and Mississippi State, and it's really close halfway through the third, and then it ends up not being all that close by the end of the thing. So I don't want that doesn't mean that it's excusable the mistakes the Titans made. We're still going to identify the problems.
This is the NFL. You're not playing at MTSU or Correct. ETSU or South Florida going up against Miami. You're in the same class, same weight class, and you're getting your face kicked in the second half.
Well, you're in the same weight class in terms of the resources available to you and like the level playing ground of team building and all of that. But they're also, they couldn't be any more different in terms of how far along they are in their, like the stage of their team building. You know what I mean? Like the Rams are a team that are in the twilight. They're kind of in the twilight of their wave right now. Like it's the end of their championship window. But as we pointed out at some point during the week on the morning show, they were the only team last year that took the eventual Super Bowl champions down to the wire, and they were a play or two away from being that team that continued marching towards the Super Bowl instead of the Eagles who eventually won it. I wasn't, there's nothing that, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's nothing that infuriates me about the second half. There are some things that I'm disappointed in. There are things that they definitely need to get better at. But unlike last week, when I think there was a lot of explosive emotion coming from the way that game transpired, to me in this one, it's a more tepid, it's just a really good team. I mean, that might end up being the best team the Titans play all year. I don't think that's a hyperbole. They may be better than the Niners. They may be better than the Chiefs. Who else on their schedule is better than the Rams this year? It may be the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. It could be. Let's get to some super chats before we dive into our segments, because we do have a few super chats, people that pay money for these comments. So Kick It to the King starts us off, says, my pitchfork is on standby. And to correct you, Callahan was aggressive last week, backed up. This week, he's in striking distance, and he's conservative. Shake my head. So this is the point about going back to the end of the first half when Callahan took the lead. Again, the whole point, Kick It to the King, if we can think through this, is you have the opportunity for a halftime lead. Do you keep the halftime lead, or do you risk losing the halftime lead? Last week, he risked losing the halftime lead, and he lost it. This week, he did not risk losing the halftime lead, and he kept the halftime lead. So that's where maybe you're thinking about it a little bit differently than what it actually was. But look, you're going to have your pitchfork on standby. You have it on standby. A lot of people have it activated. Overall, for sure. That's without a doubt. Kick It the King says 2 years, undisciplined penalties. That's on the head coach. Look, I get it. In the second half, technically, the Titans only had 3 penalties in the second half. And they got outscored.
I do want to talk about that, by the way.
23-6. But there was a lot of decline penalties because a sack was given up by Dan Moore, who had a hold that doesn't count. Jerry Sneed had a couple of untimely penalties of holding. That's not like big as far as like penalty yardage on the stat sheet, but pretty big as far as a new set of downs on the goal line. So look, the penalties are frustrating and maddening. If I'm Brian Callahan, I mean, I think you're getting to the point of like win sprints for stupid penalties. I mean, you got to do something here. You went the whole 6 months of the offseason saying we have to stop these self-inflicted negatives with penalties. And here you go. You're 2 games in and you've got 23 penalties. And a lot of them fall under the category of self-inflicted negatives. The pre-snap penalties, the holding penalties, those are I mean, Easton, you probably know off the top of your head more of like what falls into the 6 categories, but those are them.
Yeah, I kind of, we don't have to talk about it right this minute. We don't have to talk about it on the show if we don't want to, but at some point this week, I want to talk about just from a fundamental standpoint, who and what we blame for teams that are are bad with penalties, because I think I have a different opinion than maybe some folks. I think that there's this catch-all desire by people when they see a team that's undisciplined with penalties to just always automatically blame the coach. And I've always felt like that's pretty lazy. That's not like a here and now kind of thing. I have always felt like not all penalties are made the same in terms of who to blame, because at the end of the day, the coaches cannot physically not commit the penalties for the players. Like at some point, the players have to take some responsibility for this. And I'm not going to blame the players entirely by any means. I need to go back and I want to chart out, because they had 9 penalties today, 8 penalties,
10
penalties. 10 penalties today. I want to go back and kind of chart out what each one was, but there's a big difference.
Here's one. Draymond Jones lining up offsides. Stupid. Like, he should be doing wind sprints until he pukes for that. Like, I know, I'm serious. Like,
no, I hear you.
Dumb.
I hear you.
It's so stupid.
What I was going to say is that there's
illegal procedure in the kickoff. Now, did it have an impact? No, but still stupid as hell. Avoidable completely.
So the point I was eventually going to make, was that there's a big difference to me in terms of blame for penalties between penalties that are mental mistakes and penalties that are because you're losing. And so, like, constant holding on the offensive line because they are bad players and they keep getting beat up by better players.
Yeah.
That's on them. That's not a coaching problem. Dan Moore holding, that's because Dan Moore's getting blown by. I blame the players first and foremost.
This is where you can
do something about it. Replace him. That's all they can do.
No, you can't replace him because he's the best healthy tackle the Titans have on the roster. John Ojukwu proved that today.
Right. So what else is the coaching staff supposed to do?
Put somebody out there. Run a 3-man route. I don't freaking care. Do something other than getting your quarterback killed.
Run
a 3-man route.
I was about to say
who cares?
The alternative to him holding on a lot of these plays where he's getting blown, and I'm not just speaking on Dan Moore. There's a number of, John Ojukwu also. There are a number of people that got blown by and beaten, and L'Jarius Sneed getting beat up. Now, like, I'm not going to crush on L'Jarius Sneed because he had a relatively good game. Devontae Adams still going to get his very, 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 very good player. So when he gets called for holding Devontae Adams, that's because he's losing the rep, right? He's losing, so he has to cheat, and he gets caught for cheating. But I think that was kind of a one-off. That's just an example. That kind of penalty, the holding on the offensive line, those are penalties that I am always, no matter what team we're talking about, going to blame the player first and the coach second. Now, the mental stuff, the pre-snap stuff, the discipline stuff, that I'm going to lean more towards the coach. And so I want to go through and we don't have to do it right now. I'll do it at some point this week.
Yeah.
How many of because you said 23 penalties so far this year
in 2 games. Yeah.
Right. Breaking down the
several declined.
Right. Breaking down the type of those, I think, is important to figure out who exactly is at fault. Because, again, the coaches can't not commit the penalties for the players. They can only do everything that they can during the week to get the players to not do it. And then it's on the players to not do it.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's go ahead and get to our first segment of the day. We'll come back to Super Chats throughout the show here. Make sure you hit the like button. But I want to ask you guys, what's one word to describe this loss to the Rams? What is one word to describe this loss to the Rams? 33-19. Almost called them Lambs, which is funny.
What about the Lambs if they lost? But they did not lose.
Yeah, for sure. 33-19, the Rams win. What's one word to describe this loss? But first, I'm going to tell you guys about BTA Sports, making you better. How about this? I was better because I put this in there. I got this hit. I got this Calvin Ridley 50-plus yards parlay with Alec Ayumanor with 25-plus yards. Barely got it because it took a long time for Ridley to get that last catch to go over the mark. But BTA Sports helped me out with that, helped me win more money in my account. I also took Rams minus 6.5 as well because BTA Sports had the outcome for an 11-point Rams win. They won by 14. BTA Sports can make you better at sports betting and fantasy football. And if you use our code ATOZ and or our link in the show description right there, you can get a 14-day free trial with BTA Sports. And the season pass is just $99 for the whole season in pro football. So check it out there with BTA Sports. Easton, to the one-word land you go. What's the chat saying about one words to describe this Titans loss?
Well, over here in one-word land, Duran is saying that it was hilarious. King JP, inexperienced. Shane felt a familiar sense to this loss. Brandon thinks it was a monstrosity, which I question. I feel like there have been far more monstrous losses from the Titans in the last calendar year than that one. Rashad says typical. Richie G thinks it's on the coach. Like I said, says expected. AJ, predictable. John is blaming Devondre Sweat for not being out there, it seems. So that's the
Titans got absolutely gashed on the ground in the second half.
Sure did not help.
Gashed.
Now, they weren't getting gashed until the end of the game. Apparently you can set your watch to the Titans' run defense at some point in the third or fourth quarter. Every game falling apart.
Yep, 100%. Absolutely.
So that's we're going to talk about that quite a bit this week, I'd imagine, and ask the players and the coaches about that this week. Farsender, expected is certainly the most popular one-word answer.
I hate that one word. Stop
I know.
saying
it's a dumb one. It's a dumb
one.
You
guys
Jeremy
can
says,
absolutely do better than that.
I like this one. I'm not even sure this is a real word, but it's a good amalgamation of words. If not, out-talented, I think is a fair one word from Jeremy.
Yeah.
This one falls under the same category as expected. Usual. It's just so lame. Let's see. Amnesia, this is a positive one, I think. Growing. I'd imagine this is like trending in the right direction, perhaps. He sees some growth. So there's one predictable, or one optimistic one. Let's see. I said predictable because a couple of guys here said predictable. Another one that falls into the same category as expected. Disappointing. Yeah, this is the all-time worst one, actually, Austin. I think this is way worse than expected. Scoreboard. Hate that one word. What do you mean scoreboard? The thing right down here underneath my face on the screen? That? Yeah, like, okay, that's your word? Is the numbers?
That could be your word for every game. Every postgame show.
Scoreboard.
And like, what does it mean? Nothing outside of the. You have to add
use your brain on that one.
The idea of one word is to have your opinion as simple as possible, but where we can understand how you feel about it. Scoreboard.
What is the opinion of scoreboard? What does that mean?
Nothing.
Right. Okay. Not seeing anything else interesting.
All right. Do you want to go? I'll let you go first if you want to.
Oh, I don't want to, but I will if I need to.
Yeah, go for it. Are you ready?
No, I'm not thought about my one word. I never
That's
think
fine.
about
I'll go first. Landslide. This felt like a landslide where the Titans were there. They were trying their best to not fall down the slide, and they couldn't stop themselves. They were competing. They were doing well. They were overcoming some of their own mistakes and penalties in the first half. And then the second half was a landslide, and they couldn't do anything to stop it. It was brutal. And like, JT's in the press box today at Nissan Stadium. He sends us a text and says, mass exodus after the Rams go up 27-16 at the time. In Cam Ward's debut, the home crowd is just out of there so quick. And you're like, that sucks, man. That overall sucks. And I understand that this team, I did favor to comment early on in the show. Jason said, Titans have a talent issue. They're rebuilding. What were you guys expecting? Sheesh. And I agree with this.
I kind of feel that way, Jason.
They are, but and you've got the first half lead. You just want to see more proof of concept. Mm-hmm. And I think why the second half sucks so bad is because Cam Ward hit a wall and there was no way around it. He couldn't get around it. The coaches couldn't get around it. The offensive line certainly couldn't help him get around that wall. And it was just boring. It was miserable to watch. It was a terrible second half of entertainment because everybody's here because you want to see and be hopeful in Cam Ward. You got that in the first half, and then the second half kind of erased it. You backpedaled a lot. You might have tripped and fall back and hit your head on something because that's how bad the second half felt in Cam Ward's side. Because Cam Ward we'll get to Cam Ward more specifically. I won't go too far, but my word is landslide.
My one word is collegiate. I'll go back to my explanation at the top. It felt like a collegiate mismatch where the lesser team put up a good fight for 2.5 quarters and then just got outclassed. And I've already forgotten whose comment you just threw up, but whoever said what they just said on the screen, whatever Jason said, thank you, about this team being outclassed against this team. I have found in my short time at A to Z Sports so far doing this show that I tend to be far more patient than those in the chat, especially early in the year. And this is because you're not a fan. Like this is your job. But you're not. You're different. You have a different perspective. You say that. I'd love to drag you back to 17-year-old Easton so that you could see him acting the same way. He was just a fan. You know what I mean?
It's still we're not the same. We do this. It's different. It matters. It's different. It is.
There are some fans that I think are more patient than others, but generally speaking, being a fan means no patience. This is exactly the kind of game where I try to use some foresight, hindsight, and say, I really do think this might be the best team the Titans play all year long. And that does not excuse them kind of falling apart in the second half. But I want to bring up a comment that I favorited just a minute ago from X-Ghost Rider 90. Says, why keep supporting? A very simple question. He's talking, I'm sure this comment is in reference to people leaving, so I'm not even going to use his comment in the context he probably intended it. I understand what he's saying. What I'm going to say, though, and I'm going to pick up this question and carry the baton and say, the reason you keep supporting is because you said Cam Ward had this bad half of football, worst half of football we've seen from Cam Ward so far, the worst of the 4, right? The second half of this game. Guess what he's going to have? Some bad halves, right? No matter how good a rookie quarterback you are, especially in the first half of your rookie year, you're good. I mean, Jaden Daniels, best rookie season we've ever seen. Year before him, CJ Stroud, best. Go back to the first half of their seasons. As great as they were, they had some really bad halves in there. Cam had one today.
I guarantee week 4 to throw a touchdown pass.
Right. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you something that's gonna hurt even more. He's gonna have more bad halves, and I can almost guarantee you he's gonna have a half worse than this, maybe a couple halves worse than this year, because it's the parable of the scorpion and the toad, right? The scorpion stings the toad on its back riding across the river. The toad, all betrayed, says, "Why would you sting me?" The scorpion says, "Because it's in my nature. I'm a scorpion." It's in a rookie quarterback's nature to have bad halves, right? It is in their nature. It's not a bug. It's the function of being a rookie quarterback. And so the point that I'm making here is that this offense, especially right now in the first half of Cam Ward's rookie season, is not in a place where they can have Cam Ward not play well and the offensive line not play well. They can barely get by when one of those two things is working. But if both of them aren't working the way that they were in this half, they're dead in the water. They don't have the weapons available to them to make up for those things. And it's not to say that Cam Ward blew it and Cam Ward was he didn't have an awful half. He just was not. He went from being he was more of a tractor quarterback in the first half and more of a trailer quarterback in the second half. And guys didn't make plays around him in the second half. So I just think as long as this offensive line is struggling, whenever Cam Ward happens to have a quarter or a half or a game where he struggles, the offense is going to struggle until some of these skill players have more confidence from more time under their belts. And when this offensive line hopefully manages to get healthy, because by the way, we kind of buried the lead that they finished the game with one less starting offensive lineman than they began the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I don't think Zeitler went back in, right? So
I don't know. All I saw was Blake Hance have a penalty. And I was like, what's Hance doing there, right guard? That's not good.
Right. Well, it was hard to miss him when his first snap at the position was holding, false start, something like that.
False start, I believe.
So
yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and get to this next conversation here. We have actually. Let me see what the super chat.
Do people not know the fable of the toad and the scorpion?
I mean, dude, like you are like way too. Again, didn't.
Aesop's fables. We didn't all read that in school.
No. We watched Adam Sandler movies. You read that stuff. Like,
we were required to read Aesop's fables in school.
Yeah. Guess what? Who did not do the required reading? The people in the chat, everybody watching.
I think they read that one to us.
No. Different.
Sure they read that
know
one
your audience. That's not your audience. If you would have said something about putting poop in a flaming bag on a front porch, then everybody would understand that. We've all seen that movie now.
Hey, well, guess what, audience? You're all now smarter for knowing something you can use as a metaphor in the future.
Okay, a couple people are saying they knew it. Look, you hit a minority of it. But look, it was good. It's just know your audience.
You got what I meant, though, right? It's
it was hilarious.
It's a very simple fable.
You could have said like, if
the scorpion asks for a ride, the toad says, "Oh, you're gonna sting me," and then the scorpion says, "Nah, I'm not gonna," and then he does it. And the frog's like, "Why?"
If you're around a skunk and the skunk sprays you, whose fault is that? You're the skunk's. It's your fault, right? Like you could have said that.
It's in the skunk's nature. It's his whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he has
people.
Oh, for sure. All right, let's go ahead and get to this conversation here. Overall, I do want to get to Amnesia's conversation here. I don't know how much this is sarcasm, but it is a big super chat, so I'll read it now. This team is growing, couldn't score in week 1, scored in week 2, win in week 3, get hit in week 4. This team is too young to come out of the gate swinging. By week 3, they should start trending up. So this is a serious comment. I couldn't tell by pre-reading. So like everybody who's saying Brian Callahan should be fired right now just truly missed the assignment over the summer, speaking of summer reading, of what the first couple of months was going to be about this. This is hard. This is 3rd grade. This is long division geography. It's going to be tough. Mm-hmm. You're starting with with two insane defenses and playoff teams. By the way, you get another playoff team in week 4 against the Texans and the Colts tomorrow next week. So like it is not easy out the gates. This is not playing last year's first overall pick Caleb Williams and a Jets team that has nothing with an old Aaron Rodgers in week 2, followed by a Packers team Malik Willis in week 3, and then nobody's playing for the Dolphins in week 4. Complete opposite start to the season when it comes to the schedule this year and next year. I think everybody expected the Titans to lose and be 0-2 out of the gates. Two really good defenses with really good teams and good coaches, Super Bowl winning coaches. You're going to go 0-2. That should have been expected. Okay. Now let's go ahead and get to this second conversation. I want to know, what was the drive in this game that had the most impact on the final score, on the outcome? What was the drive of the game that had the biggest singular impact on the outcome of the game? So I want to get y'all's answers on that here in a second. The turning point, you may will. But first, let me tell you guys about Botero Carts. Botero Carts is the golf cart dealership you should check out. Life is short, so just go buy a golf cart. If you are driving around the streets in a golf cart, smiles, just instant. Unless you're on the actual cart path on back 9 and you're frustrated about where your ball's been going all day, you're going to be frustrated. But if you're doing anything else in a golf cart, you're a happy person. Nobody's mad at a golf cart. So just go check out Botero Carts. They got 2 locations in Gallatin and the one that just opened in Columbia, Tennessee. They're locally owned and operated. They have a full service, sales, and rental dealership as well. So you can rent one. You don't have to jump in and buy one, but they're open 7 days a week with 0% financing for 36 months. So it's really easy for you to finance this golf cart, to figure out what the financial situation is for you. So check them out. There's a no credit needed option as well. So BoteroCarts.com is where to go to buy a golf cart. So Easton, what are people saying about the turning point, the drive of the game that switched everything overall in this outcome?
The people are saying, if I can find it, here we go. Not going to shock anybody that the most common answer is the strip sack fumble. Cam Ward fumble in the 3rd quarter, I believe, end of the 3rd quarter.
Early 4th.
Beginning of the 4th? Okay. Jacoby says it was the fumble. Eric says it was the fumble. Johnny Buck says it was the fumble. Rashad says Cam fumbling that led to the Adams touchdown. That was the moment they went up by 2 scores, correct?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, it was 20-16. Yep. It was second down. I'm pulling up the play right now. It was second down and 8 at their own 29. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Down 4, right?
Right. And then the Rams start that drive at the Titans 20 or something, wherever they, but got the ball. So yeah, the fumble by Ward, the Cam fumble. I mean, and this is the obvious one because it was the back-breaking second half turnover by the Titans, the only turnover of the half by them. Cam Ward's I keep forgetting that dumb one at the end of last game. The second turnover of Cam Ward's career. And it was the moment that the game became it was the first moment of the game where it became a 2-score lead either way. So
I mean,
the obvious answer. I mean,
I agree. And even then, like even right after that, the next set of downs, when you're still in it, you've got the ball with over 9 minutes left, you're down 11, you can still go do something, but you fall. I think the stretch of the 4th quarter, if you have the 2 plays, -8 yards, and the fumble that leads to that touchdown, is the next drive. You have 3 plays, 3 and out, -5. That's just,
I'm looking at that too.
And I want to say that the fumble on the strip sack was the Kevin Zeitler's last play. So I don't know if he got hurt or something.
Correct.
Got rolled up on in whatever happened at the pile of going for that fumble, but we'll have to kind of keep an eye out for news on Zeitler because Blake Hance is not nearly as good as Zeitler is in that at right guard. So yeah, I mean, that stretch right there, it only was a matter of 8 plays. 5 plays by the Titans and 3 plays by the Rams, and it was over because the Rams then take complete control and go up 33-16 before a meaningless field goal at the end. Well, I will say this because Joey says, I love the field goal down 17. Like I get the sarcasm there, but like if you don't understand that, then you truly do math wrong. Like that's. Like you have to do that. That is.
I'm glad you said it, not me, because I'm usually the one that gets the condescending accusations. I don't know what to tell you.
You have to do that. You have to get that field goal. If you come away with 0 points, then you ended the game early. Like you want the game to be extended for as long as possible. And kicking the field goal down 17 extends the game longer for you to do something. Now,
if you were going to come back in that game at some point between that moment and the triple zeros, you were going to have to get a field goal.
Yes.
And you had a chance to take one there.
Yes, for sure. So let me get to another super chat. Callahan is out of his depth. TLG says Callahan seems like he struggles adjusting offensive strategy on the fly. Look lost as hell during the second half. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I do have thoughts. I think that the Callahan blaming in this game, I'll get myself in trouble for my mouth. It feels lazy to me. It feels lazy. I see a team getting outclassed in this game being the problem, not if only the coach did blank, it would have been. Last week was a different story, right? We talked about it.
Sure.
I said all week long that I thought it was the worst of his 18 games of play calling. I don't feel that way today. I don't think that he was some incredible play caller. What I'll say about the Callahan play calling is this. There are times where I saw a lot today of accusations on Twitter. I can't believe it's shocking people are accusing folks of things on Twitter. Callahan, what a coward. Guy's scared. He's coaching scared. And my response is yeah, he is. But that's that's because he's using his brain.
I don't think scared is the right word. He's coaching protective.
Correct. But the coaching scared moments that people are accusing him of coaching scared in, what I don't understand is what they want him to do when he's coaching with the knowledge that if he tries to get into any kind of real drop back passing rhythm, his quarterback's going to get murdered because his offensive line today can't block this group. And also that if you can't run, here's the other thing. People are we're gotten to the point, and I think this is just part of this is the rookie quarterback fever of people get so rabid for the rookie quarterback. If they could have it where every single offensive snap in a rookie quarterback's game is him throwing the ball, they'd sign up for that.
Yeah. I mean, I fall victim to that too.
And I get it too. It frustrates me when we get to see him throw the ball one time on any given drive.
Yeah, but come on.
I know. But in football, if you can't run the ball, you can't play.
You're toast.
So if you don't balance that out, there are some outliers of teams that just have the greatest pass blocking offensive lines of all time. And when you've got 3-star pass catchers, you gotta, okay, fine. Guess what the Titans don't have? Either of those things right now. Either of those things. And so we're at the point where it feels like every single time, whether a drive, whether it's any kind of short drive, whether it's a run pass or a pass attempt on first down that is incomplete, so then you run to try to go from 2nd and 10 to what we pointed out at the beginning of the game, getting into do people not understand when it's 2nd and 10? The reason you run the ball is because you're trying to get a way more manageable 3rd and 6 than the possibility of a 3rd and 10 because you feel like you're dead in the water if you're at 3rd and 10. That's the whole point. It's not a cowardly play. It's playing for 3rd down. So I think the frustration over anytime they hand the ball off, which is crazy to me because you can't not hand the ball off, and the frustration over, why don't they just drop it? Every time they tried to do true dropbacks today, he'd get killed. And guess what happened last week? The same thing. So let's see them play a team where Callahan's not. I feel like he's having a coach with his hands behind his back a little bit. Now, does that mean that he's actually awesome
today? No. I think one thing.
I'm only talking about today. Yeah. I'm only talking
about today. Callahan was not the problem. Last week, Callahan was a major part of the problem.
Sure.
Dre has a comment that says kicking field goals all game not going to help either. Besides the one touchdown they had, you kick field goals because your offensive line's not good enough, and your quarterback is in his 2nd game he's throwing to young players minus Calvin Ridley. They're not good enough to score touchdowns consistently.
Mm-hmm. The one touchdown they scored today was, lest I remind you,
a bad play.
prayer of a play.
A reckless, terrible play.
Yeah.
Cam Ward should probably have a negative grade on his touchdown pass.
Oh, PFF will not give that play a positive grade.
I don't care about PFF. I care about
No, I'm just saying people that are charters of football plays, that's not a plus play. That's a neutral play. It's a bad decision you got away with.
Christoffel says 2-loss TD at home is embarrassing with the number 1 pick in the house. The number 1 pick was a part of that, dude. The number 1 pick fumbled the football to go down 11 points. Think. guys, like this is not all about one guy, the head coach. Like you're going to bury Brian Callahan because you're just mad at everything about the situation with the franchise.
Yeah, Austin. Today, I think today's game is really. As I started today's show, I'll end. I mean, I'm not ending it. Where I'm not like trying to call the show off here, but like my final words and my introduction words to this episode of the A to Z Sports YouTube channel are going to be that this game was really easy to explain. That they got outclassed, and I think today's frustration all boils down to growing pains, right? And it's stuff that if you go back in time 15 days to talk to all of us preseason, talk about the upcoming game against the Broncos on the road and the Rams at home, you would, I think we'd all be kind of understanding of the fact that there's a chance either or both of these games get ugly because they're going to be outclassed in both games. And the Titans, we got so many reasons to be optimistic about them long term. But this is going to be a real work in progress. And the coaching staff and the front office and everybody involved with the organization spent every waking moment of their time between January when the season ended and September when the new season began, trying to get us all to understand this is going to be a work in progress. This is going to be baby steps. And this felt like a baby step game for a team that played a team that's way, way, way better than them.
Yep, 100%. All right, Easton, let's go ahead and get to our next conversation, that is grading quarterback Cam Ward. How do you grade Cam Ward's performance in this game? I'm curious about it. Easton, I will send you to the box score to get that ready so we can understand Cam Ward's performance and grade this appropriately. But first, let me tell you guys about the Barrel Social Club. The Kentucky Poker Open is coming back to the Barrel Social Club in October. That's real poker players, real players. The Barrel Social Club is in Kentucky, right across the Tennessee state line, in Kentucky and Tennessee's poker destination. Here it is, 45 minutes north of Nashville. The Kentucky Poker Open is a tournament series that runs October 2nd to the 12th. 12 different poker tournaments with over $100,000 in guaranteed prize pools. Tournament buy-ins range from $250 to $600, and cash games will run every single day and resets every single day. So if you're a poker player and you want to get in on the action, it'd be a really cool thing to go. You just got to take one day. You got October 2nd to the 12th, all those days to pick just one day to head up a little bit north to the Kentucky Poker Open at the Barrel Social Club. If you want more info, go to thebarrelsocial.com.
Cam Ward's box score, as we prepare to grade Cam Ward's day, I'll start with the part that is less important. Took off on the ground 4 times for 8 total yards. Passing, 19 of 33, 57.6% completion percentage, 175 total yards. It's good for 5.3 yards per attempt. Took 5 sacks for 32 yards lost. Threw 1 touchdown, lost 1 strip sack fumble. His long passing play of the day was 26-yarder. And his quarterback.
His first one. This, again, 2 games, first completion, longest of the day.
Good point. And his quarterback rating, 82.3.
So not a terrible quarterback rating, different than QBR, but so what
QBR
do you see?
QBR is going to not be as kind.
No. So grading Cam Ward in the chat. This is, to me, we're not doing first half grade, second half grade. This is all encompassing. This is one big semester. You don't get the split in half because
Austin, this is one of those. You ever had like
first half A, second half D equals C plus.
You ever had one of those? You ever had one of those years in school where it often comes with a little senioritis, where you kind of crush it in a class in the first semester, and for whatever reason, by the end of the second semester, you're doing the math on how bad can I get away with being this semester for my first semester to still carry me to pass this class. You know what I mean?
For me, it was the opposite. I kind of slacked off during the fall, during football season. I'm like, crap. All right, what do I got to do to save this?
Fair enough.
It's about how you finish, right, guys? All right, so Easton, you want to go to the chat for these Cam Ward quarterback grades?
I will. Before we start, do you remember what you and I'm curious because I didn't hear this far into the show. What were the grades that you and JT gave last week?
I don't know, man.
Were they relatively, was this conversation more positive or negative last week?
It was C pluses a lot, neutral maybe.
Okay, so middle of the road. Okay,
sure.
We'll keep that in mind with these grades because we want to try to stay consistent with our grading scale throughout the season.
Yeah, Duran that's true. I should remember, but
we honestly we should be writing these down. Duran says C minus. God's Child says a D. True Jones says a B plus for AJ. Holy cow. A D from God's Child. Did he vote twice? He voted twice. Randy says C minus. Anthony Cook says B, C plus, D, C plus, C, D, C plus, C plus, B, C plus, B. Surprised by the number of B's in here. The median, just eyeballing it, appears to be a C, maybe a C minus. But these B's, man, I think it's a flat C for him today, if I'm averaging out the chat.
Randy says that we both gave him C's in that range, which we should just assign one person in the chat to keep track of all of our quarterback grades.
Who wants to be our
who wants to be it? Just say
secretary on that. The court
say
reporter.
And just be our scribe for the meetings here. So
I'm giving it the first person that I see. But if you claim it, you better do it.
Yeah, that's right. It's a commitment. You get paid nothing.
All right, Jack. Jack.
It's on Jack.
Jack, I'm going to physically ban you from the chat if you don't actually do this now.
We got three. We got Gary and John won it too. So you guys,
Gary and John are on deck for if Jack ever gets banned.
They can be the quarterback grade committee.
Jack, go back, notate what the two were from last week, and then take down the ones we're about to put down.
I think I said C. I think I want to say C plus.
If you do it all season, Jack, we'll give you something at the end.
Maybe. Don't. I mean, it's gonna be up to you.
I said something. We could send him literally anything. It could be a sweet tart.
That's true. All right. So I think this is This is a C minus. I think C minus is where I'm going to land. I'm struggling. Do I want to give him a D plus? I don't. I've thought about it though. I think the second half was that bad.
Okay.
They couldn't do anything. At one point, when the game was lost, he only had like 11 passing yards in the second half. The game was already over, and then he piled on like 40 more yards that don't matter. And so at the end of the show or the end of the game, you'll see, 19 to 33 for 175. It's not gross. It doesn't stand out to you like, ugh, but what mattered was about, 138 yards. That's what mattered.
Right.
The game was over for the last 40 yards. So I think I'm at a C minus. He holds the ball too long. He's got to throw the football. I know he one of the sacks, at least one of the sacks, he walked directly into the defensive tackle. Like directly, he panicked and he went directly into him.
Yep.
And I want to say that was like a second down sack that ruined the drive, whatever drive it was. But I think I say C minus. It was not, even though he threw a touchdown pass and he threw for more yards, this game was not as good as last week for Cam Ward.
No, it was not. I already forgot. Was it Jack who we gave this role to?
There's several. There's a committee. Jack.
Okay, yes. to the committee led by Jack. I'm going to share my general curriculum, or not curriculum. What's my grading scale for quarterback grades that I try to abide by. So you don't get an A unless you win the game. That's number one for me. A's only go to winners in my book. In my book, you don't have to abide by this, Austin.
Okay.
So A's are for winners who you won the game because of your quarterback. The B range is also for, we're talking about tractor versus trailer quarterbacks, also need to be a tractor quarterback in the game. It needs to be a could have won or did win on the back of this quarterback performance. The big line of demarcation for me is between the B minus and the C plus. Mm-hmm. That line right there is whether or not you were a tractor and you carried the team, or a trailer and the team needed to carry you to the win or to the win that you did get. C's are for guys that you could have won with them, but you certainly weren't winning because of them, right? Clear trailer quarterback. D's are for guys that if you won in spite of this guy. Like, not good.
Special teams had a kick return or something.
You won in spite of, you won 9-3 and the defense played with their hair on fire. And then an F is reserved for, this one I had the least curriculum for. It's just reserved for the worst quarterback performances you've ever seen. It's like how the Supreme Court defines pornography. I know it when I see it. I know an F when I see it. Okay. Those are rare to hand out.
So what was this? So
today's by that grading scale, this was a C minus grade. It wasn't quite so bad as to say, well, if they would have won, it would have been despite Cam Ward. It wasn't that bad, but Cam was not a tractor quarterback in this game. And he wasn't a particularly great trailer one either. And it's a little bit unfair to him because, again, our expectations of him, reminder, a rookie in his second ever NFL start on a team that needs a lot of work. We're asking a lot of him. We're asking a lot of him. And it sure would be nice if he could be Bo Nix and come in to a team with a coach and a roster that is so much more established where he can get away with not throwing touchdown passes until week 4. But that's just not the reality. And it's never going to be the reality when you're the number 1 overall pick. So it's a C- grade.
Jamie gives this show an A. Send him a sweet tart. Jamie, hit the like button. We'll talk about sweet tarts later. Now, like Christoffel says, let's keep accepting piss poor performances. Like, who's accepting this?
Who is accepting?
I think there's a difference of understanding and accepting, right?
Yes.
I think Easton and I are on the side of understanding. Look, when the game started and the Titans had like 3 penalties in a row, I wish you guys, if you guys had a camera on the wall of my office watching me just mumble angrily through the beginning of this game, like, you gotta be like, what the hell are they doing? Like, they've been working, and I even tweeted this. Like, it seems like every time the Titans focus on not doing something, they just do it more because it's too far in the front of their brain. Like, maybe they just need to do the opposite. Like, forget penalties exist, and then you'll stop doing it. But you're so focused on it, you just do more of it. Like, and so I was just fuming, just out of my ears in the first quarter. And then turned it around, made some good plays. But like, this offensive line is terrible because John Njoku is terrible. Send him to the sun. He's awful. Dan Moore is even worse with John Njoku playing right tackle.
I thought you were saying he's even worse than John Njoku. I was like, hold your horses there, partner.
Pregnant pause there. Gotcha.
It really was.
But no,
got my attention.
Dan Moore just got wrecked. And John Njoku is just like, the first sack that happened on Cam, it looked like Nicholas Petit-Frere. Byron Young just ran right through it. J.J. Watt, I thought, was pretty good today on the broadcast, by the way. He did not annoy me like I was expecting.
You were hot about that before.
Yeah, well, I was like, dang it, we got to do this. But J.J. was pretty good, and he was like, yeah, he didn't have to dip that much to get through that rip. He just went. He just ran. Yep. And so I think a C- is fair grade for Cam Ward. Last week, here's what I said. Easton, last week I gave Cam a C+, and I said outside of Lloyd Cushenberry, I think everybody else has a lower grade than Cam Ward. This week I think is slightly different. Alec Manor played really well.
That's pretty consistent, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably would have been tempted to give Cam a B- in the moment last week, but I'd have been right there with you.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Where do we go next? We're just trying to work through all these different things. Let's kind of stay. Let's get a little analytical, why don't we, here on the show? Let's go ahead and dive into what you guys think about the analytics. Easton, I want to. I'm going to go look at the. I'm going to go look at the how much this win probability changed in this game from one moment to the next. I want you to go find a stat that you think tells a really good story about this game. So I'll give you some time to do that because I'm going to tell everybody about Lipscomb University Sports Analytics. You guys can help go pro in sports. If you want to get a grad degree on your resume, you can, and you can do that online wherever you are at night on your own time while you're doing whatever else you're doing for a profession right now. But if you want a career change, you can do that with Lipscomb University. They do a fantastic job of creating careers and opportunities for our passions. Easton and I, it's fun. We're privileged. We get to wake up and do football for a living. That's a great thing. It's not all rosy, right? You get to lose your voice talking in a postgame show about the Titans losing by 20 points a handful of times, but you get to wake up and do football, something that we all love, and Lipscomb University can be your part of that path to get to do that as a profession. So check them out online, Lipscomb University Sports Analytics. Easton, have you found your assignment of a key metric or stat that tells a big story about this game?
I'm trying to verify this stat because it's written kind of funny.
Okay.
So I'm questioning the validity of it from Next Gen Stats. I think it's just a typo on their part.
All righty.
Okay, just kidding. We're not going to read that because I don't think it's accurate. Let's go with this instead. I think they're going to have to. I think the machine spit out something dumb on that one. Cam Ward completed 19 of his 33 pass attempts for 175 yards and a touchdown. Second NFL start against the Rams. He fared much better against zone coverage than man coverage. Completed 18 of his 27 attempts for 169 of his 175 yards against zone. completed only 1 of his 6 attempts for 6 yards against man. That's a minus 36.2% CPOE. It's very bad. It's very, 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 very bad. Ward's first career pass touchdown to Alec Iamander. This one's just for kicks and gigs here at the end. First touchdown pass had a 14.2% completion probability, the 4th lowest by a rookie on a touchdown pass since 2018. That's fun. Now let's go back to the meat of that. The man versus the zone. CPOE is completion percentage over expected. That's a general measure, mathematical measure of what's supposed to be completed versus what actually is completed. You set me up perfectly, chill mode. Why do I care about CPOE? I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you. Because CPOE is often framed as a quarterback stat, as it is here. And it's not a quarterback stat, but really, it's a receiver stat. And I think this circles back to my point earlier in the show that right now, the Titans' offense is not good enough to compete week in and week out with both Cam Ward and the offensive line not being actively good. You need at least one to be an active force for good and not evil. You really need both to be an active force for good and not evil, because the Titans skill players are just not in a position yet. There's some young guys that could change that down the road, but yet for them to be able to be leaned on. And CPOE is largely a receiver stat to me and to a lot of much smarter people than me that I talked to about this. The fact that in man coverage, when you're leaning on guys route running, speed, separation, quickness, agility, it's a one-on-one matchup. Get open, right? For Cam Ward to have been so bad today in a relatively small sample size, only 6 of his attempts came against man. But for it to be so bad, that tells me as much about Cam Ward's bad day as it tells me about his receiver's ability to be in the right spot and get open.
Fair enough. I asked you for a stat that told the game, and you did. And then people calling you nerds in the chat. Well, there you go.
I thought this was the analytics corner of the show. I pulled up some analytics.
You went really serious. So the Titans, after going up 16-13 in the second half, the Titans had a 52% chance to win. And then it dropped all the way to a 14% chance to win on Cam Ward's fumble early in the fourth quarter.
So what was that fumble drop? From what?
I mean, it was after they went up 16-13.
Right.
It was 52%. After the fumble, it was 14%. So there was some other waves in there. There was a whole quarter basically between that, but still pretty. You had the chance to do this, so it gave it away. He gave it away right there. All right, let's keep on going here in our post-game show here on this fine Friday. Let's go ahead and recap how our X-Golf X Factors did in from the pregame show, and did they help out? Did they pass the X Factor? Did they not? So we'll review our X-Golf X Factors here, presented by X-Golf Nashville, Murfreesboro, Hermitage, and Franklin. 4 locations across Middle Tennessee. They've got you covered. There's an X-Golf within driving distance of your Middle Tennessee area. So look, it's a really cool place. Their golf simulators are amazing. I've been out there a few different times over the last couple of years, and X-Golf keeps on growing. There's a reason why it keeps growing. They started with 1 location when they started on our shows 3 seasons ago, and now they have 4. Incredible growth for X-Golf because they have an amazing place with great golf simulator action, the best simulators out there. They have the self-teeing process that helps you you don't have to bend over and touch a golf ball to get back on the tee. It's perfect for drinking beer, drinking whatever you want, and eating great food while watching all the TVs they have, because it's a great sports bar, even if you remove the golf simulator. So go check it out in 4 locations in Nashville, Murfreesboro, Hermitage, and Franklin. PlayXGolf.com. So, Easton, we both kind of had the same type of X factor of stay on time, right? Like stay on the path of setting yourself up to succeed. Don't put yourself in a bad spot. And I think they failed.
Agreed.
Even when they were up in the first half, I still think they were failing at our X factor.
Yes.
So
What was yours exactly? Because mine was quick passing, right?
Mine was to stay on schedule, stay and not get behind the sticks. Don't have yourself playing in third and long, second and long type stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I wish, I know it's not immediate, so we'll have to check back in tomorrow. But I'm curious to see what Cam Ward's time to throw was in this game, because week 1, it was bottom half of the league. It wasn't awful, but it was bottom half of the league. Anecdotally, I'm going to say it was roughly the same, maybe slightly faster today, Austin. And I know that's because they emphasized having to get the ball quickly. Frankly, this week he had less opportunity, whether he wanted to or not, to hang on to the ball. But he did try to do some extending and creating, and outside of the touchdown pass, it largely didn't go very well.
Yeah. So the fourth down run was good. Like he wasn't
true.
Like,
good point.
Cam, he's got moments.
It's a growing pain game. I'm not. Let's just be super clear. I don't think either of us are particularly worried about Cam after this game.
No, I just think he's not finished product, and you have to understand that. Again, back to earlier, we're not accepting this. We just have to understand where they're at.
Yeah, the rest of this team right now is in a spot where they kind of need the quarterback to carry to win games. Now, that could change. Like, the rest of this team could get their act together next week. It could be next month, whenever. But that's where they're at right now. And you just can't expect that of a rookie quarterback. It's just not fair. So that's what they call them, rebuilding years. You're going to lose a lot of games. It's not about the wins and the losses. It's about the rest of the stuff.
For sure. And that's where GBO, that kind of goes right into, we'll wrap up on super chats here. GBO has a good one that kind of goes right on line. Titans fans are so unaware of how rebuilds work. Titans fan here. Did you all think that after being the worst team in the NFL last year, we'd start 2-0, wake up, firing Callahan will only set the Titans back and Cam back? So that's a good comment. The Titans were set up to start 0-2. The schedule showed that. Now, the reason why they made training camp clunky on purpose is because they knew it was going to be a clunky first month of the season. Mm-hmm. And we'll see if they get the benefit of that. But yet, it's been really hard. I don't know what the Colts look like next week. I don't know what the Texans look like in week 4. But I think there's a chance to win a game next week in Nissan Stadium against the Colts, right?
They've got a couple big inflection point games. My grace for them that I'm extending through these first 2 games, I think a little bit more than a lot of folks in our comments. The same level of grace will not be extended the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's not to say that I expect them. You better win both. No. But there needs to be real progress, and you definitely do have a chance to win one of these games. So go do it.
For sure. King Beach says, lock in like the show.
Thanks,
and Nija said, the punt return call back started the downward spiral. No, it didn't, because you still scored a touchdown.
Yeah, you got a ball don't lie touchdown off of that one. You're exactly what you need in that moment.
Chim DK?
Good player.
Man.
Good play. Alec Manor, Chim DK, good players.
Good players. You know what? That show? You know what Chim DK is? I tweeted this, but I missed half of it. Jim DK was a victim of Wisconsin and Florida.
He really was, wasn't he?
Wisconsin. Ugh, gross.
Hey, remember who was passing him in Florida? Did you watch him yesterday?
Well, that wasn't just him. There was Graham Mertz also wasn't doing anything.
Okay, well.
It is Billy Napier in general.
Stands.
Billy Napier and Luke Fickell, Wisconsin, just not helping Jim DK put a draftable resume out there. And the Titans took him at 103, and I think it's a smart draft pick so far. All right, last super chat here before we wrap up. Mike Rabel's burner says people are fed up with Callie, but remember what's important. He's really nice to the media, and Titans front office said they believe in him, so he must be good. No. The sarcasm thick, Mike Rabel's burner. The front office doesn't believe in him. They just don't believe in firing the coach for a rookie quarterback.
Well, they believe in him insofar as they decided back in January that
they believe in giving him time.
They believe that there's a world in which Brian Callahan works out as a head coach in the NFL. Obviously, because if you didn't, you would have fired him.
Sure.
The two games that have transpired since that decision was made have not changed that, my friend.
Easton, I have, and we'll have to figure out the day we do this week, because I have a show topic for a morning show that you and I need to have this conversation. And I think it's kind of like where does the dam break for Brian Callahan this season? And I don't want to get too deep into it, but I've got this even before the game. I had this and I was like, I know I kind of figured what this game would look like today. And I knew this would be a talking point for an upcoming show. That might be a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday or something like that. So we will discuss this about Brian Callahan and where he's at, because he's approaching a certain milestone that I don't want to give away. He's approaching a bad milestone from the Titans past, and we will discuss that at some point this upcoming week.
Well, good news. You and I have morning shows to fill, so
we do.
There's going to be an opportunity for that.
Any last thoughts?
My only parting thought is that in the spirit of patience, I wish that I could have like filmed, or y'all could have like seen through my eyes, documentary style, some of the conversations I've had in the last 6 months with the people in charge of hiring and firing Brian Callahan. Whenever I would talk to them about the Denver game or the Denver Ram Colt Texan first month, the looks they'd give me, the inhales and exhales that would perspire from their body, the couching of words, yeah, we'll see, man. Could be tough.
They weren't.
This is not.
Fine. They weren't.
I'm not saying they're happy with
dog,
it,
right? They're not the it's fine dog in the middle of a burning house. They were like, yeah, this is not going to be fun.
Yes, go back. Here's one public example. Go back if you really care. You don't have to. Go back and listen to the pre-game interview that Will Bowling did with Mike Borgonzi in Denver on Titans radio last week. It is the shortest you ever heard Mike Borgonzi. You can hear the like anxious worry in his voice minutes before this game kicks off. I'm not saying that they're pleased with what's happened so far. I'm not saying that they're fine with it at all. I'm just saying that they've not been blindsided by the first two games, even a little bit. I feel pretty confident saying that.
Yeah. They're just trying to tread water right now.
Get through the suck.
Yep.
Embrace the suck.
Sure. All right, guys, that'll do it for us on this post-game show. Buck Rising is live tonight for A to Z Sports Primetime, so keep your eyes tuned out for Buck and Bert on Primetime around 7, as I'm guessing where they're going to be, but on Facebook and on YouTube to get Buck's reaction as he was in the building for today's game. Shout out to all of our great sponsors here on the post-game show: X Golf Nashville, Murfreesboro, Hermitage, and Franklin, BTA Sports, Botero Cards, Lipscomb University Sports Analytics, and the Barrel Social Club. Easton is off to write. His workday is not over, so he will put all of his thoughts into words on atozsports.com/Titans, as Buck is doing content all across our social. We'll catch you guys later on. Appreciate it as always. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning.